right. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jake Blanchard podcast. This is the first recorded episode of 2023. So we're excited to be back. Took about a 4 to 6 week break on new guests, but I am so excited for my guest today. It's Claude Racine Valinsky. I'm excited to go on a journey with her today. We're going to talk about her career as a professional dancer, choreographer, etc., transformation, becoming a powerful voice in the women's wellness mindset and fitness space through her coaching, Glow Up with Claude, and so much more. Claude, thanks for joining me. I'm excited to have you.
Yay, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, the first thing I want to get into right out of the gate is I know you recently launched a podcast. You're one of the people that I like to listen to, and I'm so excited that you have a podcast because I love your social media. I love what you're posting out on Instagram. It's direct, it's to the point, it's motivating. Tell me about the podcast. Who's it for? What are you doing with it? What's it called?
It's called the Claude Code, which is something I came up with of like little like isms that I have and like certain little like, I guess, laws that I live by in my life that have helped me be like a successful entrepreneur and a successful mom and wife and woman in general. And I thought, and I just would write them out. And I thought, why don't I like expand on those things and just talk about it and give people weekly motivation, which I feel like is going to turn into like more than once a week, but we'll see. And it's basically just like things that suffocate your bullshit and help you reclaim your life. Because everything that's standing in the way of like you being your best self and living a happy, fulfilled life is all absolute bullshit. But people give it this life like it means something and it doesn't.
Yeah, okay. So let's expand that because you do coaching as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're helping people make that recognition that a lot of the stories that we tend to tell ourselves and narratives that we give ourselves, the past that we give so much weight to, does not have to necessarily impact your tomorrow or your today, your tomorrow, and your future. So how did you get into coaching? Who's your coaching program for? How are you? What are you doing, Claude?
Well, interesting you should ask. I was actually selling makeup and skincare since 2021, January. And then I went to a summit and I saw my mentor, Wes Watson, speak on stage. And the minute he started talking, I was like, who is this man? Why does he speak my language? And why do I enjoy him yelling at me? But I want to be where he is. And then he said something very important. He said, if you've overcome a problem, and if you struggled and you figured out how to get out of that struggle, it's your job now to teach people how you did that. And I was like, I am holding on to so much gold because of my own successes that I've had, right? My own problems and things I've overcome. How dare I not help other women do the same? And literally on July 24th, 2022, I decided I'm going to start an online coaching business.
Oh, wow. And then how has that gone? How has the last, I don't know, 8-9 months?
I think it's been 6 months.
Oh, yeah. My math is terrible. Sorry.
I'm always like, man, how long have I been doing this? 6 months? That's crazy. It took off. Like I was blown away by the response of people wanting to work with me. And then I was blown away by the results that my clients were getting. And it's just the community I've built. I have almost 200 clients now. And it's just like the most epic thing I've ever done in my life. I've done some epic shit, but this is like, this tops the cake.
So maybe we'll hit the top of the waves on the program. How have you organized it? I mean, is this around, is it all mindset? Is it nutrition? Is it fitness? Is it the whole shebang? Like how do you add value and serve your coaching clients?
So one of the things that I came up against as I created my program and started offering services was, wow, most things out there that are fitness related or anything like that are very much based around men. And even with my own mentor, it's like, you only need 5 hours of sleep, get up, lift heavy, blah, 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 eat whatever you want, just as long as it fits the macros. And I was like, wait, we cannot operate like that as women. We need 7 to 10 hours of sleep a night because you know why, Jake? Your hormones are produced in your balls, and your balls don't need much rest. But as women, our hormones are produced in our
Well,
adrenals.
well, hold on. I mean,
I'm
let's not discount the amount of rest my balls in particular need. But no, I'm kidding.
but like if you don't get sleep, it's not like your balls like don't function properly. Whereas your adrenals, which is where our hormones are made from, if we don't get rest, if we're stressed, cortisol will literally like just shoot them out. And then you're dealing with all kinds of hormone imbalances, this and that. So I actually got my certification in nutrition, Rachel Shear Nutrition. So I'm now a certified nutritionist, but I specialize in like hormone health because a lot of women don't realize their hormone imbalances are actually caused by, bad gut health, not building enough muscle in the body, drinking too much wine, things like that. So I've really tailored my program to not just focus on here's your macros and here's your workouts. For women, it's a little bit more detailed than that. So I dive even deeper. I eliminate a lot of foods that cause inflammation in our bodies. I add foods that optimize your hormone health. And I look at things like, are you sleeping well? Are you stressed the fuck out? Like, how do you put yourself first as a mom? So that you can get healthy. And then on top of all that, I add my mindset, which is cut the bullshit, put yourself first, take care of yourself, mom.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And by the way, for those listening, like 200 coaching clients in that short of a time to build the infrastructure around that, to execute that, to get the results that you're getting out of that is absolutely, that's insane. It is so much work to do that. So cheers to you for growing a program and adding so much value so quickly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
The other thing I want to do is I want to go back and you mentioned the name. Folks might not be fully acclimated to Wes Watson and who Wes Watson is. I've never met him. I'm looking forward to eventually meeting him at some point. But I do follow him and I do listen to what he's got. He's a pretty intense guy, pretty intense story. Maybe
Yeah.
a couple seconds on Wes from your experience.
No bullshit. Just like A to B.
Yeah.
A to B, and very direct. And he just literally gives no fucks. And I really thought that as a person, I didn't give a fuck. I had a whole brand called Zero Fucks. And when I saw him speak, I was like, man, he's saying some of the shit that I want to say, how I want to say it.
Yeah.
And he made me realize that I was still like editing myself, but he doesn't break, he doesn't miss. He taught me what it means to implement habits that you do every day, like non-negotiably. And I didn't operate like that before him, but working with him has just made me even more like solid as a human being who has habits that like I'm not going to miss because it's my birthday or I'm, he's just so hardcore and I need that. I need somebody to kick my ass and just not allow me to like sit in my excuses.
Yeah, you're bringing up such an interesting point. You brought up your internal dialogue. Like I have, just like everyone else, I negotiate with my internal dialogue sometimes. And the MDK, the project calls it your internal bitch, whatever you want to call it. But like, it's that little nagging thing inside of you that allows you to justify whatever behavior you're doing. And to be quite honest, I give into that more than I would like to admit. I truly do. As somebody who holds myself to a pretty high standard and executes my life at a pretty high standard, I still am unsatisfied with the level of negotiation that I'm having with that internal voice. Talk to me about your internal voice. Talk to me about that conversation, how that conversation goes. Like, how do you defeat it more often than not?
Well, oh my gosh, sorry for all those dings.
You're good.
A lot of times Wes is right here.
Yeah.
Which that's why I think a coach is so important. Without my commitment to him and my accountability to him, I wouldn't care, right? That would be like one less. Anyway, so it basically, I'll wake up and I'll be like, it's really cold. Just stay in bed. Stay in bed and read your book. No, Claude, get the fuck up. Get the fuck up. Okay, do I really need to go work out this morning? I was like, I should stay home and focus on doing my makeup. I'll go work out later. No, you won't. Get yourself ready. Go at 7 a.m. As soon as Noah gets back, go work out. That's what I do. Like, I have the internal dialogue, but I have the tools to really, really just suffocate them completely and just move forward. And the only way I know is successful. Like, I know if I don't go work out, that's an unsuccessful action. And that's not just going to affect me right then. That's going to affect everything in my life, my whole day, whether I sign a new person or not, whether I help a new person or not. That's how seriously I take that stuff.
And then here's the thing that I find, and maybe you could speak to this, working with 200 plus people, is that inner voice doesn't work unless you have a vision for the way your life is to be executed, unless you're tied to that vision, unless you can remind yourself of the thing that you're working toward, because then getting out of bed has no consequences because you're not robbing some other area of your life, to your point. And so, like, what are you driving toward? Like, who is the you of the future that you are so adamant about becoming?
I want to be like the most positive voice for women. I want to get rid of all of the stupid narratives that hold women back from being happy. Like, there are so many women unhappy because they can't like reach down and tie their shoe, or because they're just getting run by their kids all day long. They've lost who they are. I want to be that woman that represents what is possible. What is possible as a mom, as a woman. You can work, you can have the body you want, you can be healthy, you can sleep, you can be not stressed. And like, nothing fills me up more than like when I get these wins from my clients. Like, Claude, I can wear my pants again that I could wear 10 years ago, or I can finally breathe better, or I'm sleeping better. My period is less aggressive. Like, the amount of relief those women are experiencing, and then what you're able to be because of that to everyone around you in your life. You know, there's too much conversation like, oh, I'm a tired mom, drink your glass of wine. You know, wine, moms, am I right? We're all so tired. Life is so hard. And, you know, don't restrict yourself. Balance, enjoy your life. Being a mom is so hard. And I just want to like suffocate all that nonsense. So that's why I wake up.
Holy shit. I love that. I mean, it's like, it takes the grit. It takes grit. It takes waking up every day and pushing hard every day and maintaining positivity every day. And your outcomes are directly tied to your belief system, right?
Yeah.
And if you believe that the world is hard on you, or that you need a glass of wine to cope, or, you know, all these other coping mechanisms, that is going to be your ceiling until you decide that it's not, right?
And it's comforting to sit there, right? I think it's very hard for people. It's an identity that you have to change. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
if I all of a sudden wake up tomorrow and I don't feel sorry for myself, I'm losing my identity. If I all of a sudden wake up and I don't agree with a glass of wine every night, I lose 15 of my closest friends. But what's more important? Your 15 closest friends who are unhealthy, creating bad habits, who are getting nowhere in life? Or I'd rather be alone and have no friends, but creating positivity around me, creating the life I envision.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, if you're on a mission, putting your head down and driving forward, here's the thing. I never get upset when people have behaviors or habits or live in a lifestyle that I couldn't imagine living in, as long as they don't complain about it.
Yeah.
Right. From the standpoint,
Yeah.
if somebody doesn't want to do it, like if somebody's so happy with the way that they're living and like they don't have any gripes about their weight or their health or this and that, and they're like, hey, I know what I'm doing and I know what
Yep.
the outcome is, and I don't want anything different right now. I am loving this. Bro, I will never expect anything out of you. But if you sit there and you start telling me, like, oh man, I wish I was 15 pounds lighter. Oh, I wish I was doing this. Oh, I wish I was doing that. Like that's
Yeah.
where you're talking about cut the shit. Like if you want it,
But yeah.
go get it.
And this is really true. And like a lot of women and moms will complain about certain things that their kids are doing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sick of my kid, this, he's just always crawling in my bed, or he won't nap anymore, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you realize that's your fault, right? Like you realize you're allowing your kids to run you and make decisions that they shouldn't be making, but boundaries,
Yeah. 100%.
boundaries.
Boundaries. All right. You obviously are a person who pushes boundaries, doing different things. I want to go back a little bit in life. I want to, as I was looking you up, and there's a lot of information about you online, obviously, and some things that you've performed in, things that you've done. You are a very interesting person in the world of dance as well, and somebody who's accomplished quite a lot in that space. What was, give me your background. Like how did you find yourself in the position that you're in? Like, I mean, this is such an interesting story or journey. Like take me back to childhood. Like, did you always want to be a performer? And then I just want to go in that direction right now.
So my mom put me in like gymnastics, and I'm Canadian. So I did like ice skating, but I didn't like it. So when I was 8, my parents moved us from Montreal, and by us, I mean me and my brother, I have one brother, to Arizona. I didn't speak a lick of English. My mom was like, let's put you in dance class.
Oh, you
Okay.
were like proper French,
Proper.
who's the UFC fighter?
Oui. Georges St. Pierre.
Georges St. Pierre, the Pride of Montreal. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I've met him a couple of times, and I was like, I'm from Quebec too. And he was nice, but I get it.
Yeah.
He wasn't too impressed by the fact that I was from Quebec in California. Like, whatever, George. Okay. Um, so where was I? Oh yeah. So
Arizona.
dance.
Yeah.
And then I started dancing, and I was really good at it, and I liked it. And it was finally something that I felt like, oh, okay, I'll stick with this. And then we moved to Arkansas, where dance, it's like, imagine going like 10 years back in time, like the level of training, right?
Yeah.
So I got really bored with it. I quit in like 10th grade, started playing soccer. And then I went to college for 2 years, and I just started feeling very empty. I changed my major like 4 times. And I went because my dad wanted me to go to
What were
college.
the majors? What were the major
Oh
changes?
my God. Sports medicine.
Okay.
Like what? What else did I do? I think one of them was nutrition, and then definitely the last one was computer motherfucking science. Computer, like,
It's funny to look at now because I imagine you're not sitting there like reading the new releases on coding languages lately.
oh my God. Like, I do like technology. I'm very good at it, but coding, and like, I remember going to take my final, putting those floppy disks. Remember the floppy disk?
Uh-huh.
Anybody that's below the age of 30 probably won't know what I'm talking about. But you put it in, I put it in, and I wrote, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, period. Ejected the disk, turned it in, and left. And then I went home, and I go, Dad, if you don't let me go to LA to dance, I'm going to kill myself. I will end my life as I know it. And he's like, well, you got to find something to do there. You can't just go there and not have a plan. So I went to LA, first of all, I worked since I was 15. So I had been saving money. My mom was like, you got to pay your own flight there. So I did. I auditioned for a scholarship program at a school called the Edge Performing Arts Center. They pick like 20 people out of, I don't know, I think it was like 200 people that auditioned or something like that. I got picked on August 5th, 2002. And then a month later, I moved to LA and it felt like home. And I was so happy to be there. I spent the next year training my ass off. We were dancing like 30 to 40 hours a week. I was working at Abercrombie and Fitch on the weekend. And yeah.
And back in the early 2000s, it was all about that spritz of cologne all over the place in that Crombie stuff.
I think it was called Fierce, remember?
Oh yeah.
You had to spray on the mannequins and you walk in, it's like, oh my God. We get it. You're fierce, Abercrombie.
Tattered clothes and surfboards or whatever the hell they had in there. Yeah,
oh yeah. Oh yeah. So
continue.
After a year of that, I just started working professionally. My first job was a music video for Blink 182. And then I did Pussycat Dolls. Well, I did a musical with Val Kilmer at the Kodak Theater and then went to do Pussycat Dolls in Vegas. Moved to Germany for 2 years. I was in a pop group there. Came back, no money, 26, living with my parents in Arkansas. Like, what do I do now? Go back to LA with like 2 G's to my name. That was 10 months later. So I taught dance in Arkansas for 10 months to earn money. Went back to LA, booked a tour. And then I worked as a dancer for a little while longer and then started getting into more choreography.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. And then
yeah.
what was that transition like then? Like going from being not necessarily told how to move, but then actually, this is the overarching goal. This is the feel for everything. This is the right movement set that goes along with this. This creates the best outcome. Like, and you're in charge of that. Take me through that process. It's crazy for me to think about. Cause like, I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know how to move.
You're around it so much as a dancer, right?
Yeah.
Like 15 years. Well, was it 15? Maybe like 12 years of dancing on sets for artists, whatever. You see every piece go down. Like you see how it works. So transitioning isn't really that hard if you've actually been in the industry as a dancer and you've observed like how this shit goes down. And I enjoyed it. It's just like you're always dealing with personalities. And I always told people, it's like choreography is not just coming up with dance steps. It's literally dealing with different personalities. Like Megan Mullally is different than Sean Hayes. There's a different way that you are going to communicate with each of them. And you have to be really like aware of, you know what I'm saying? So you just always kind of feel on edge as a choreographer, like, oh God, is the director happy? Is the network happy?
Do you feel like skills that you learned doing choreography translate well now to your coaching business?
Yeah. I mean, that whole, even as a dancer, as a choreographer, all I see it now, that whole journey led me to right here. The amount of times that I had to stick up for myself, for my rights, for respect, for integrity. The amount of times I had to control a room, not control. When I say control, I mean that in a good way,
Your scope of practice, you're there for a specific job. You have to advocate for that job and the outcome of a good job, no matter what, because you're the professional that understand what it takes and you have to get other people to buy into that.
Yes. And I mean, I was always willing to lose my job to stand up for like I was yelled at by a director one time. Like he was trying to control like who's turning on the music and how the dancers should start dancing. And I was like, sir, I am not trying to do your job. Please don't try to do mine. But also as a dancer, people don't take you very seriously. People think it's like, oh, you do this for fun. So you're constantly being underpaid. I've been on several sets where like 7, 8 hours go by. We haven't had a break, no water, haven't been fed. And here I am. I always referred to myself as the bitch because I'd be like, none of us are stepping foot on set again unless you give us some fucking water. You know, like,
Yeah, it sounds
like no. So I think all that just helped me build like a really strong skin and strong sense of self. And now I can like, I know how to pass that on to my clients.
yeah. Well, as you're exploring this world of coaching and becoming successful in this space, how has it impacted family life? I mean, you're married, your husband is a friend of mine, Noah. Shout out to Noah. It's my modern day night project brother, somebody who
Yes.
I always look forward to seeing. Looking forward to doing some jujitsu at some point in time. But and then your child as well. Like you've got all of a sudden all these other folks that are entering your life through this coaching. How does that impact family life?
Well, I have systems in place and I have a very specific schedule and time carved out every day that I devote to Noah and Nova. And again, through my own coaches who have taught me how to do this, I'm able to show up for all of it. And if anything, I have more time now than I did before because I have more systems,
Yeah.
more organization, more schedule. Like before, as a choreographer and dancer, like that was my biggest thing. It's like, how the fuck do you even have a schedule? People call you at 10 p.m. Can you be on set at 5:30? Sure. Like it's such a random lifestyle that I feel like I had less time then to devote to, you know, I mean, I didn't get to work a lot in that industry after I had Nova because COVID happened and shut the whole thing down. But um everything's very organized and in place, and I have a time for everything where I give my energy to my clients and when I give my energy to my family.
And I think this is so consistent. On this podcast, I've been honored to have so many high performers, executives, coaches, athletes, like all these different folks that have dropped by the show. And when I ask these types of questions, I get such a similar answer. Is like, my first thing that I have to do is organize my life. I've heard it called containers. I've heard it called time boxing. I've heard it called the what not to do list. My non-negotiables, like people have their approaches to addressing their calendar. And as long as they are staying committed to what is on there, doing what's actually on the calendar, what you signed up to do, and
Yes.
then things will work out great for the most part, for many of these folks, including yourself, it sounds like. But the second that you start ignoring the workout that you put on the calendar, or, oh, I'll just move this to tomorrow because that space wasn't filled up, all of a sudden you're pushing your opportunity to add value, to serve, to execute your goals and dreams, to take care of yourself. You're negotiating that down the
Yep.
line to take advantage of whatever just kind of you allow to pop into your life. Oh, Bob called me, I get to go hang out with Bob now. Sometimes you got to tell Bob no. Like, you know what I mean?
You got to tell Bob no.
You got to tell Bob no. And successful people are people who are managing a lot and saying that they're not overly overwhelmed just because they have good processes and systems and they trust themselves to time box their calendar.
Yeah, exactly. Like even Bedros, who is another one of my business mentors, he's like, there is no spontaneity in my life. I schedule like the fun in my life. And so every Saturday there is date night. Now things do come up where like, oh no, nobody can watch Nova. So we have to improvise, right? Maybe date night is just on the couch watching a movie or
Yeah.
going out back and drinking a sparkling water because we don't drink alcohol, like things like that, right? But it's everything is scheduled in everything. And I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, man, when you don't have someone to answer to, you have to hold yourself accountable. And that's when the success comes in, is when you make your own schedule and you make yourself follow it. Nobody's making you show up to work. Like if I want to fuck off the whole day, I can, but I choose not to.
Yeah. And for me, like I'm currently in a window where I'm not doing any coaching. And I go through cycles where I'll go find a coach. I'll spend 3 months, 6 months, even up to a year, with someone that I'm trying to extract some kind of knowledge from, some kind of perspective in life. And what I've been trying for the last 6 to 9 months is actually, I'm a big fan of the U.S. Constitution. I'm a big fan of the document that folks came together and signed that says, like, this is how we're running the government, right? And if we have an issue with the way that the government is run, this is the document that we go back to. I actually have like an outline on the wall here, next to me,
Oh,
that you can see.
cool.
These are like 12 principles that, like, I always default back to. So if I'm making a decision, I look back and I say, my first thing on there is time is relentless, use it with purpose, right? So it's like, hey, am I currently using time with purpose? I don't know. Like, is this purposeful time that I'm booking, and do I feel like I've achieved what I'm working towards? Show up with energy. It's just simple. It's simple stuff, but like, that's what I'm signing myself up to do. And then I have a lot more like detailed specifics about what that means from a fitness standpoint or Brazilian jiu-jitsu standpoint or a work standpoint. But this is what I signed up for. And then my wife and I try to hold each other accountable. But as you know, in relationships, man, sometimes that's tough. Sometimes, like, if I'm having I get these like little tiny 7-Ups that I have in my office. They're like 8 ounces. I know I shouldn't be drinking them, but like, yeah, I like them. Yeah, I don't care.
Oh, yeah, well, I like wine too,
Yeah,
Jake, but I'm not.
I know. But like, so the thing is, like, I like to have one of these a couple times a week. And she was kind of pushing back a little bit. And she's like, hey, you saying that you want to eliminate a lot of sugar. I see that you're doing this. So she's holding me accountable to a standard that she doesn't understand, that I've eliminated almost everything else except for this little thing that I want to have as my thing right now. So then we start arguing about about a Coke that I never asked her to hold me accountable to. So now, one of the things that we're doing is like, hey, let's like write a list down of ways that we can help one another, and let's sign up for it. Which means, like, these are all the things that I can call you on your shit for. And because
Ah,
I want to be called on it. But here's the other stuff that I'm managing on my own. And I'm not ready to have my partner sit here and like tell me that I'm out of congruence with whatever I signed up for. I know it's crazy to say that, or not necessarily crazy to say that, but it's like, it's how we're trying to figure out supporting one another in a more like formalized way. Because if you're in one of those like periods of time where the back of your brain is just allowing you to kind of, I don't know, whine about it, you're going to fight. You're going to take all your time, energy, and attention, and you're going to
yeah,
put that into an argument.
yeah,
And then you're going to waste so much more time, and you're going to create harm and all these other things that happen in relationships because you didn't have a list of things that we're aligned on. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm kind of
That's
ranting right now, but like, that's
no.
one of the areas I'm exploring personally.
I mean, it's kind of like that's hard because see, like I would look at it as like an excuse,
Yeah, I know.
right?
I know.
I would look at it as something that is not benefiting you and keeping you from being what you want to be.
Yeah.
So, like, why would I allow that to go? Why would I continuously watch you do that when I know that's holding you back?
Mm.
Why would I watch you dig yourself into a hole? And like, I'm very vocal
Yeah.
about.
No, I'm loving your perspective on this. Give it to me. I
Well,
love it.
here's the thing. I don't give a fuck about the 90% that you're doing well.
Yeah.
This 10% over here, you're fuck off with your 2 Sprites every week. Let's talk about that.
That's how you would approach it.
That's how I would approach it. I tell my clients, like, good job, like, great that you did that, but what didn't you do?
Mm.
You didn't 100% say no to the gluten this week, did ya? You didn't say no to the sweets. So I'm glad that you worked out every day. What didn't you do?
Yeah.
Because, and I learned this from Wes. He's like, I don't sit there and visualize what I can do, what I can create, like what I want in life. I sit there and I go, where did I mess up yesterday? And how can I be better and not do that today? Eliminate all of the things that aren't serving you. Those 2 7-Ups. Is it Sprite or 7-Up?
It's either one. I mean, they're both caffeine free.
They're not serving you. And
I
whatever you're telling yourself about that
yeah,
is absolute bullshit. Suffocate it, because it's not good for you.
it's true. It's true. You're 100% right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Now, again, I'm sure your wife has said this, but isn't it weird how like you almost don't hear them quite the same way you hear other people?
Yeah, it is. And it's because I think when we were talking about spouses and relationships, their bullshit is so visible to you. The things, the incongruencies that they have, like if they're not living to the highest standard in which they said that they were going to do, their hypocrisy in that conversation shines through. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what becomes difficult when you're both operating from a standpoint of, I don't want to say imperfection, but like incongruence. Like there are still things that I like to do that necessarily I could, if I had the discipline or decided to have the discipline, I could completely eliminate from my life. But then I would I don't know, like from a mental standpoint, I still have a hard time personally of saying like, if I want to fucking Sprite in my office, or if I want to mix it with whiskey that's in my office, I'm going to do that. And so I think it's really along the lines of how you self-author, right? Like for me, I've self-authored and said that is fine in my life. And then the next iteration of Jake will be eliminated. But I've taken so much out already. Again, multiple approaches to this. But from my mindset, if I have done the take everything out, and I find myself I spiral. I absolutely spiral. I get depressed. I feel like I don't know what operating system I need to load into my brain in order to, like, this is like the podcast turns into like Jake's deep thinking brain. Right? So I'm getting free coaching from Claude, but like, I don't, I trapped you.
You win.
But when you get to that standpoint, I've done that, especially when I got back from the project. I mean, I spent the better part of like 9 months eliminating absolutely anything that would be outside of what I considered a perfectly lived like ecosystem for my life. And I found myself battling with like some type of depression as a result of eliminating those things that brought me joy in some way. How do you coach through that? Like, is it alignment of goals? Is it like, I don't know.
It's the long view.
Yeah.
And it's purpose. So if you can't find a purpose for eliminating those things, it's going to be hard to eliminate that, right? Like if you don't have a reason, like you said earlier, to give that up. But here's my problem with that. When I was going through postpartum depression and anxiety, everybody was going, it's okay, Claude, you just had a baby. It's okay, Claude, you're going through enough already. Eat that shit. Oh, Claude, you're barely sleeping, like enjoy a glass of wine. Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
In the moment, was it good? Yeah. But I ended up with a fucking autoimmune disease. So if you know what you know about 7-Up and you still drink it, it may not be impacting you now. But I guarantee you those ingredients will find a way to bring shit to your body at some point down the line. But what people don't look at is, how is this going to impact me 10 years from now?
You're right.
They're just like, I'm fine right now. I'm good.
All right. You got me fired up, Claude. Look at that. That's how fucking good you are at this shit. Thank you. I appreciate the perspective. I appreciate you giving me the nudge and, holding me a little accountable there. And you're so good at it.
Thank you. It's like every time you feel like you're sad that you can't have that stuff, you got to think of what you're actually creating and building long-term when you say no.
Yeah. Damn you for operating with so much rational thought.
Just fill your fucking fridge with some Waterloos. That's what I do. I pour some sparkling water in a glass wine and I'm like, look at me.
That's what I have right here. I got a little cranberry juice mixed with some soda water. Little
Like, Jake, it's 7 Up. Are you really going to give it that much power? This is what I say to my clients. I go, look down between your legs and realize that there's a vagina there that has birth life, most of us. Okay.
Yeah.
And you want to tell me you can't say no to chocolate? I don't understand. You are not that weak. No, sir.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we are starting to get into the latter part of the podcast. I want you to reflect now for me. Think back, either a decision or a handful of decisions that you've made in the journey of life that you're like, damn, I made the right decision. Wow. Like looking back on your forks in the road, you could have went left or right. If you've got one that stands out, awesome. If you've got a couple, I just want to hear where you're coming from.
Well, one of those was moving to Vegas.
Yeah.
From LA. Another one of those was starting my direct sales in 2021 and like completely ditching the entertainment industry altogether. That decision right there changed the whole trajectory of my life forever. It changed me. It changed my purpose. It changed the reason why I'm here on earth, where I thought before it was to like dance and entertain people. And not that that's not a big purpose, but my purpose was much bigger than that.
Yeah. I love it. And then, finally, technology. Man, I am so blown away by what's happening in the world of tech right now. I don't know if you keep up with all the AI stuff or the chat GPT stuff that's coming out, or all the different applications and things that folks are using for your business or businesses. What are some of the pieces of technology that stand out that you use or that you leverage or that you're interested in exploring that help you create systems and help you execute at a high level?
Automations, that is huge for me. Like automation, texts, emails, lead capture, systems like that, email marketing, all that stuff has been like a huge change in like the way I can run my business and how I'm able to support that many clients at once.
Yeah, you can't scale without technology these days, especially when your funnel is online, right?
Yes. I mean, social media, people are like, I hate social media. I'm like, it's free marketing and you can touch so many people at one time. Like, use it. You never know, like your message, your journey, whatever, it can inspire so many people.
Well, Claude, we've covered a lot of ground today. What haven't I uncovered as we've been talking through this? Anything you want to share with folks? Anything you've got upcoming?
I am releasing and launching a new course in March. It's a hormone reset course for women. And I'll be talking about that more on my social media, on my Instagram in the next few weeks. So people can start signing up for my VIP list. And I'm super excited to launch this course.
That's awesome. Where's the best places to go interact with you? Is that Instagram? Are you on the gram mostly?
I'm on the gram, like I'm on Facebook a little bit, but the gram is where you can reach me. DM me at Glow Up with Claude, CLAUDE. And yeah, I answer all DMs personally there.
And we're looking forward to that podcast, the Claude Code, coming to you. And definitely give Claude a follow, give that podcast a follow. Thanks for joining us today on the Jake Blanchard podcast. Make sure to share the episode, rate, comment, follow, all that great stuff. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks, Jake.